I'm going to do this video. God is leading me to do it on basically exaltation. And this is something the Lord helped me out with a long time ago when I was pondering these things. But I kind of put it to the back of my mind. I kind of forgot about it, didn't really think a lot about it, because when God reveals something to you, it's kind of like hearing a joke for the first time. When you hear a joke for the first time, it's funny, you laugh. But then after a while, you tell people the joke, you hear it again, and even though the joke is still funny, you don't laugh the same because you've already heard it. It's something that's already in your system. And revelation from God is kind of the same way. That's why people say, I need fresh revelation, or I need a Rama word from God, because once revelation really hits you and affects you and impacts your life, you start living by it and you kind of put it to the back of your mind. The Lord revealed this about 7 years ago probably, but the Lord brought it to my forefront and said, I want you to share it because there's probably a few of you who need to hear this. I also want to say that for my subscribers and other people who like to watch my videos, I cover a lot of topics on the Bible. It's very clear that I do that by looking at my channel. I'm not going to be a hypocrite and not cover certain aspects because they're uncomfortable. I'm going to talk about giving very soon on my channel. And it's according to the Bible and how the Bible leads. And so just prepare for that video because it's coming. But I want to get back to the exaltation video. Basically, the devil and God work differently. And there's a few major reasons why, and I'm going to explain it. The devil will use people on this planet for his purposes. And he will no doubt exalt them and use them powerfully. And then other people, especially Christians, they read the Bible and they say, well, the Bible says those who humble themselves, that God will exalt them in due time. You know, and I've humbled myself for a long time, and God hasn't really exalted me or done much, you know. There's a reason for that. Not only do we have biblical examples, King David, we have Sarah and Abraham, we have all the prophets, basically Samuel and even Samuel's mother, Hannah, how God made them wait in the wilderness, God tested them, and then eventually we have the examples from the Bible, but I'm going to try to bring this home. When the devil uses someone, he doesn't care. He'll use them fast, he'll use them easy, because the devil's name isn't attached to what they do in the world. Oftentimes they're professionals in the world, or they're in certain industries, and they make a lot of money, and guess what? If the devil can use them for his purposes, he does. And guess what? If they crash and burn, he doesn't care. Who cares? You think the devil cares about these people? He doesn't care about them. He's using them. He's using them as like pawns. He doesn't care if they do his bidding, good. And if they don't, good. You crashed and burned. You know, they laugh at you in the media. They make fun of you. The devil doesn't care. It doesn't impact his purposes or his kingdom. The devil is the author of confusion. He's also one who makes desolate. He doesn't care about destruction. He has come to seek to kill, destroy, and to steal. That's what he's come to do. So if you make a lot of money for him, or you're doing things toward his purposes, or anything that you do is good for his kingdom, then he uses you and he's happy with that. But like I said, if you crash and burn, he's fine with that too, because he's the author of destruction. That's what he does. He's fine with it. God isn't. God did not raise up his church that we would be destroyed, or that we would end up crashing and burning. God doesn't want that for his people. For that reason, God will take us very, very slowly. He will humble us, he will break us, he will discipline us, he will sanctify us, he will conform us into the image of his Son. He'll do all these things. And when God has deemed that you've gone through enough and that you're a vessel who's capable of standing under temptation, under tribulation, he will give you exaltations on this planet. He will lift you up. He will. Even Joseph, back in Egypt, God allowed that guy to be completely humbled, and on God's time, he lifted Joseph up. The two major reasons that God will put us in a deep wilderness and make us wait a very long time. The number one reason, he doesn't want to destroy us. He doesn't want us crashing and burning. He's against that. He loves us. He wants to bring us to heaven. He wants us to be a good servant on this earth, so he brings us up slowly. Okay? He doesn't want us to destroy ourselves. He doesn't want us going out there making mistakes and hurting ourselves. It's just like the example of a 16-year-old who gets his license, and the father gives him a slow, safe car. And the father has a very, very fast, unsafe car. And the kid goes, Dad, give me the keys to your car. I just want to take it for 20 minutes. Just give me the keys. And the dad goes, well, I shouldn't, but here you go. Here's the keys. And then the officers come to his door and say, yeah, your kid was in a crash, man. Come to the hospital. He may not make it. Okay? That dad is going to regret giving the keys to his kid, probably for the rest of his life. God is not in the regret business. He is not going to exalt someone who's going to destroy themselves. He's not going to give somebody the capability to go out there and make a mess of things, because he loves us. Just like the father loves that child, God loves his children. He is not going to open the doors and allow us to destroy ourselves. Okay? That's number one. Number two, and this is what God taught me probably first and foremost, his name will not be blasphemed by those who he exalts. He is against anything having to do with his name being muddied, or his church, or people hardening their heart against him because of hypocrite Christians. For that reason, God will take you slowly. And when he chooses to exalt you, he does so with the intent that you do not blaspheme his name. That 2 years after he exalts you, you're not out there in the world, or you're not getting caught with prostitutes and drugs, or doing things that you shouldn't be doing. You know, even tax evasion or any of that kind of stuff. That basically you're submitting to the powers that be, and that you're doing what God has called you to do. Okay? God cannot exalt people fast, because if they turn around and they blaspheme his name and they muddy the church, they muddy the Christian name, it falls directly back on him and his purposes. And what it ends up doing to the world is they harden their hearts. They harden their hearts against the Bible, they harden their hearts against Christianity, and they harden their hearts against God. And it becomes 3 times harder to get through those people. You know, you'll be ministering to someone, oh, you mean I should be a Christian like that guy who's been preaching for 20 years and has 20 churches, and the guy just got caught with prostitutes? And he got caught with male prostitutes? You think I should go after that? You know, what's going to be the end of me if I serve God in the Bible after 20 years? Am I going to end up with prostitutes? You give them leverage to blaspheme God's name, to blaspheme his purposes. You give them leverage. For that reason, God will not exalt someone quickly. Because if you go out and you sin and you muddy the name of Christ, it makes it harder for God to get through to people. It makes it harder for God to be able to minister to people on a serious level. Okay? Those are the 2 major reasons why God will put you in a wilderness, and he will make you wait a very long time until he brings you any type of spiritual success on this planet, or even a physical success on this planet. Okay? Because even if you're doing a job and you're a Christian, everything you do is for Christ, and your coworkers look at you. So God may not give you that promotion because you use Christ's name a lot. Everybody knows you're a Christian. And if he gives you that promotion and you go out there and mess things up, they're going to say, oh, is that how a Christian does it? You know, you're the worst boss I ever had. Is that what Christianity is all about? You understand what I'm saying? So that's how it works. Don't deceive yourself. The devil will exalt a 13-year-old because he doesn't care. He doesn't care if that kid does the devil's business, or if that kid crashes and burns at the age of 18 and ends up drinking himself to death. He doesn't care. His name isn't in the mix. You understand what I'm saying? Even though he's doing the devil's purposes, the devil's name don't get brought up. You hear these people ever talk about the devil? These people who are under the sway of the devil, perhaps possessed of the devil, you ever hear them talk about the devil? No, of course not. And even if Satan is just using these people as pawns, they're not ever talking about the demonic or the devil or any of that stuff. So when they crash and burn, it's all about their failures, what they did wrong, their bad choices. And the devil's name doesn't get brought into it. It's ignored, and society covers it up, and everything just goes away. So not only does the devil not care about the vessel the way God cares about us, okay, but even when that person fails, the devil's name ain't on the line. Whereas when a Christian who is exalted of God fails, you better believe God's name is on the line. And God is the one who exalted that person. So God is responsible, because God's the one who opened the door. You understand what I'm saying? There's a lot of levels that you can't see. It's not so simple to just say, well, God said this, and he said he would exalt me, and I've waited, and he's got to exalt me. There's a lot of factors that you have to consider. A lot of factors you may not really totally understand. Not to mention, the devil is the accuser of the brethren. He stands in heaven and accuses us night and day. And you better believe part of those accusations are hold this guy back, but also at times, yeah, let this guy walk in, man. I can't wait to get at this guy. And God's like, nope, I love this one. He's my son, and I'm not going to open these doors and let him destroy himself. So be wise as a serpent, but as harmless as a dove. Okay? Just to clean it all up, to bring that final understanding, the devil doesn't care about you. Trust me on that. He doesn't. And he doesn't care if you do his bidding or if you crash and burn. And his name is not involved. So go at it. The world's your oyster. Do whatever you want. God, on the other hand, you are his child. He loves you. He will not allow you to destroy yourself, and he certainly won't open a door that enables you to destroy yourself. Okay? And his church was bought by the blood of his son. This is a serious business, and he will not allow anybody to walk through a door of exaltation, turn around and blaspheme God, and do a horrible work towards this world as a witness, towards the church as a ministry, and towards his good name. He won't allow it. For this reason, the wilderness is a reality, something you cannot escape, ever. It is a very real reality. And these people who get exalted quickly in Christendom, and they're already exalted, and they've been doing something for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 years, not of Christ. If this video doesn't convince you that God does not exalt quickly, then nothing will. I mean, I'm not trying to exalt my videos, but what I'm saying is, if you know the Bible, if you've ever read it cover to cover, and I've read it cover to cover 17 times, not including all my studies, trust me, God makes you wait. It's his MO. It's his modus operandi. That's how he works. And right now in Christendom, you have all these people who exalt it fast and easy. That is man exalting them. That is not God. So God is not responsible for that nonsense. Make no mistake about it. All that nonsense, God is not responsible for it, because God did not exalt these people. Man did. The Bible is very clear not to exalt young people who are young in the faith. And when I mean young in the faith, I'm talking about the first 10 years. If you're in Christianity for 10 years, you're still young in the faith. Okay? They are not to be exalted. And God does not exalt these people. Man does. And God allows it to happen, but then he stands back and he watches the horror fest. He watches what commences. Because it's never a good idea, and it's not God's will for the believer. God's will for the believer is more like Joseph. It's more like Jesus. It's more like what all these ministers went through in order to finally get prepared for what God had for them to do. And they all had to go through wilderness testing. King David went through it. Joseph went through it. Moses went through it. Abraham went through it. They all went through it. Okay? And they're an example unto us. Christians, if God has promised you something in your life, God's promised me things. I'm not going to talk about it. But if God has promised you things, then you stand on it, but you keep this knowledge as a reality. God will humble you. He'll put you in no man's land. He'll make you wait. And he does it for 2 reasons. Because his name cannot be blasphemed. And because he loves you and he doesn't want you to destroy yourself.